This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So we were discussing about data level files and folder level backup and also virtual machine level backup. And we have enabled VM level backup using this recovery services vault. So let me try to go through the options that we have got at this stage. So I've given you a task to consider the backups that we have taken for the virtual machines. Like if you look at these options, I've given you a task like crash consistent, app consistent, and file system consistent. So have you ever got a time to see the information about this? What is crash consistent, what is application consistent, and what is file system consistent? Okay, so if you've not done, no issues. Let me show you what it means as part of our configurations. One moment. So I'm going through this documentation where you can see some theory as well, and which will be easy for you. Right. So if you look at this one, see here. So a crash consistent recovery point contains on disk data as if you pull the power cord from the power server during the snapshot. It means, to give you a simple option, when your VM is in shutdown state and still your backup will run, whether it is running or whether it is in shutdown state. Okay, so when the backup has been completed, when the VM is in shutdown state, then we call that it as crash consistent system. Okay, one moment, it does not include, yeah, because it is capturing the data, whatever it is there on the disk. It will not be capturing anything on the memory because the machine is in shutdown state. So when you keep on working on your laptop, personal laptop, so there will be some transactions and whatever that you click here and there, that will be processing through the CPU and memory. So if you consider all that in the enterprise applications, all the transactional information is also very critical. So if you don't have transactional logs, you might be having some issues, especially in terms of financial data. Let's say you're trying to send money to someone and you're receiving an OTP, but your system has or your mobile has gone crashed. So how are you going to receive that messages? Or even if the message has been triggered from the bank side, it will not be able to receive to your phone because your phone is in switched off mode. So the transaction is missing there. Similarly, such kind of requirements will be there in the enterprises. If you want to capture entire backup, the machine should be up and running. Otherwise, if the machine is in shutdown state, if you look at this virtual machine, and this is in stopped state, you can see here, stopped and deallocated. Okay, so that's the reason whatever the backups that we have got here is a crash consistent applications or service. It is a crash consistent backup. Okay, in interviews you might get questions like what is crash consistent, what is app consistent, and what is a file system consistent. So now, what is application consistent? There is one application consistent backup which was created on 26th of July when we have initiated this backup. I have done this manual backup. So it means when the machine was in running state, this backup was captured. So let's see the differences here. If you go through the theory, you will be in a confusion state, but make sure you understand this theory as well if you wanted to go through. Okay, so see here, app consistent recovery snapshots or recovery points are nothing but, you can see, they capture the same data as crash consistent snapshot, and in addition it will also capture memory and all transactions which are in process. So this is the difference between crash consistent and application consistent. So let me repeat here. Crash consistent ఏంటి, ఒక VM షట్ డౌన్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు బ్యాకప్ తీసుకుంటే, వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ మాన్యువల్ బ్యాకప్ ఆర్ షెడ్యూల్డ్ బ్యాకప్, we call that is as a crash consistent. When your system is up and running, and if you're enabling backup or whether it is scheduled or manual, then you consider it as application consistent backup, where it is capturing memory, transactions, everything in that system. Okay, so which is called as application consistent. You can see that when you switch on your machine, and then you can go for this testing. Now there is one more backup type here, which is the recovery point type, which is like file system consistent. Let's see the definition of that one as well. Okay, so most of the cases it is app consistent, and which is where most of the enterprises will be looking after, where it will have the transactional data and also any missing information which is going to the process. It will be included on the application consistent backup. If you look at file system consistent, let me show the definition of that one as well. Okay, it is not listed here in this. Let me go to another consistent backup Azure. Okay, so where is that exact? Yeah, this is application consistent. One moment. Yeah, here it is. And if you look at this definition, file system consistent backups provide consistency by taking snapshot of all files at the same time. So I will tell you the difference. When you're recovering a virtual machine with file system consistent snapshot, the VM boots up and there is no data corruption or loss. Apps needs to be implement their own fix up mechanism. So let me ping you this link first, and then I'll explain what it is exactly. Right. So if you look at this crash consistent, I'll repeat, it is going to be a full VM backup when the VM is in shutdown state. All your data and applications will still remains on that server, but you will not be getting the latest transactional information out of that crash consistent backup. Now, if you look at this application consistent backup, this is a backup when your machine is up and running, and when the backup is enabled, this will be captured. However, it will also capture memory and transactional backups. Now, when it comes to file system backups, if you look at the file systems, let's say for each and every system, there will be a file system on the disk side, C drive, E drive, F drive, and NTFS file system, FAT32 file system, and for Linux, it is ext3, ext4 file systems, and so on. So all of this will be there. And when you consider file system consistent, it will capture entire file system snapshots as well. Though it is a part of backup, it is capturing a snapshot where you can retrieve it very fast compared to other backup types. So the most popular one is application consistent, where most of the users wanted to have that application to be up and running as part of their backup method. If you go to file system consistency, this will not be capturing memory and transactional details. It will only be capturing the file system information, and you have to fix any application issues once you recover the data using this file system consistent. So it means you no need to choose the backup type here. By default, Microsoft Azure will have a mechanism what type of backup that it is going to happen. So it will be taking care. ఇక్కడ VM షెడ్యూల్ ఉంది కదా, సో ఆటోమేటిక్ గా క్రాష్ కన్సిస్టెంట్ బ్యాకప్ తీసుకునింది అనమాట. అండ్ ఇంతకుముందు VM ఆన్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు యాప్ కన్సిస్టెంట్ బ్యాకప్ తీసుకునింది, అండ్ ఫైల్ సిస్టమ్ కన్సిస్టెన్సీ బ్యాకప్ ఇంకా తీసుకోలేదు. లెట్ మీ షో ద డెఫినేషన్ అగైన్. When you are recovering a VM with a file system consistent snapshot, VM boots up and there is no data corruption or loss. Okay, apps needs to implement their own fix up mechanism to make sure the data is consistent. Okay, so in this app consistent, everything will be perfect. There is no data corruption, and the apps also will be in perfect state because it is capturing memory content and pending operations which will be captured as part of backup. Okay, so and you can see that crash consistence VM is in shutdown state, then only it will be captured. Okay, this will be considered when some VSS writers failed. So these are the services which will be there on each and every system. Let me show in my laptop as well. If you go to services.msc, you will have VSS writers. Okay, where is that? No, it is not there here in this machine. Probably it will be there on the Windows servers, not on the client machines. So if you see that this VSS volume shadow services writers of failed as part of the services, then it will be considered as a file system failure and it will be taken as a backup. Whereas in app consistent, everything should be perfect, then only it will be considered as a backup. Okay, so now let's come back to VM1. So we've got almost 10 backups are there here. And if you want to stop a backup here using this feature, when you are done with your backups, you can stop backup forcefully. So when you stop backup, still your data will be there on the recovery services vault, and there will not be uh, any further backups scheduled based on the options that you're choosing. So if you want to restore data, let's say your actual VM is crashed. ఈ VM1 ఉంది, ఈ VM1 క్రాష్ అయిపోయింది. ఇప్పుడేంటి పరిస్థితి? ఆ VM1 లో ఉన్న డేటా నాకు బ్యాకప్ కావాలి. ఒకవేళ బ్యాకప్ ఉంటే రీస్టోర్ చేసుకోవాలి. బ్యాకప్ లేకపోతే we cannot do anything. So now we have got backups. How to restore it? Okay, so click on this, and here we have an option, restore VM. So when I click on this restore VM, you are going to get an option like this. You have to choose the restore point. అంటే ఏంటి, 10 days బ్యాకప్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, ఏ రోజు బ్యాకప్ డేటా తీసుకొని రీస్టోర్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నావు. సో వీ ఆల్వేస్ రికమెండ్ ద లేటెస్ట్ వర్షన్. Instead of going through 26th July, I am going with 2nd of August and click on apply, because always a restoration should happen from the latest backup recovery point. If you want to still go with the very old option, yes, it is up to you whether to go there and restore this old backup or not. Okay, so let's try with this 7th, yeah, to 26th July, which is a app consistent backup, and we can choose anything. Click on OK. How do you want to restore this server? Do you want to restore existing virtual machine? ఆల్రెడీ VM1 ఇక్కడ నడుస్తుంది కదా, ఈ VM1 లో కొన్ని డిస్కులు ఉన్నాయి. ఈ డిస్కులను రీప్లేస్ చేసి బ్యాకప్ లో ఉన్న డిస్కులను అక్కడ అటాచ్ చేయాలి అంటే, yes, you can go for this replace existing option. Okay, if you replace existing option, if you choose that, all the data, whatever it is there on this virtual machine backup, will be restored to your virtual machine where you have got configuration. Okay, now instead of going to replace existing, we can go with create new as well. It means a new virtual machine will be created based on the date that we have chosen from the backup, which we call it as a recovery point. Okay, so now I'm going with create new. You have to choose whether you want to restore only disks or entire virtual machine. Let me go with this create new virtual machine, and virtual machine name I will give it as like restore disk. Vault resource group, I'm giving that one only. Virtual network, you can choose, okay, let me choose this VM backup demo resource group. Where is that? Yeah, this one, where my VM1 is already deployed. And network, I can choose VM backup demo, RGBNet and default, this one. And this is subnet. Staging location. So you have to create a staging location, which means, let me draw a diagram here. One moment. Right. So see here, we have got a recovery services vault here. Let's say I'll make it as ASR, and you have got your VM1 which is backed up. This is the VM and it has been backed up to this recovery services vault, and ASR again uses a storage account in the backend. Now all of your backup data will be there here in this storage account. Okay, so if you want to consider uh, a restoration procedure, let's say you've got 10 days of backup. Okay, you're trying to restore this VM2. Let's consider VM2 as your restored VM. You want to create from the backup. So in order to create this from the backup, you're going to create additional storage account. ఎందుకు ఇది ఇందులో ఉన్న బ్యాకప్ డేటా అంతా కూడా ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడికి వస్తుంది అనమాట, సెంట్రలైజ్ లొకేషన్కి వచ్చి, అండ్ ఇక్కడ నుండి VM2 కి క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది అనమాట. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ అ ప్రాసెస్ Microsoft has defined to enable any of this kind of restoration points. They have got additional storage account in place which you need to create. It can be only LRS or anything ZRS, whichever is fine, but make sure you have the lower plan like LRS. So we have got here staging location. At the moment there is no storage account, and I have to create one more storage account to utilize it for our restoration point. I'm creating the storage account quickly, and let's see whether we get this option or not. So here I'm choosing, where is that backup demo, the same resource group. I'm creating a storage account. You can choose any resource group, let's say cache storage account, and the location, let me go back to this virtual machine 1, access control, it is ESTS here. It is already taken, so I'm going with 4 standard, and then LRS, review and create. So I'm creating directly without choosing any other options. Create. Right. So this additional storage account deployment is complete. And let me go back to the recovery services vault. And here backup items, and click on this virtual machine, view details, and restore virtual machine. And now we will see whether we will be able to get our storage account or not. create new, enter a name, let's say restored VM-2. Okay, and the resource group, virtual network, this one, and default and staging location. Yeah, you can see here. Now we can proceed with the next option. So when you click on this restore, all the data, whatever it is there on the backup, and even with passwords, okay, everything will be restored using this option. So let me click on restore. It will take some time to get it restored. Okay, so let us initiate it and then we will go for next options like restore data. So if you want to see all the information, whatever that is happening on your recovery services vault, go to the jobs, especially on this backup jobs, click on this. Now you can see, so virtual machine backup is completed yesterday around 11:30 p.m. If you want to filter and see more and more data, let me filter here. I want to see the data from let's say 28th of July until this point, done. And you can see VM1 backup has been completed and my laptop files and folder backup is also completed, and VM1 backup is completed 29, 30, 31. So for the first time, it has taken 21 minutes, and yeah, it's not the first time. Probably I need to choose another filter here. Let's go with 25th. Apply. Where is that? Yeah, let me go to the next page. So on 25th, it has taken around, not this one as well. Yeah, this is the backup. So for the first time, it has taken 41 minutes, and thereafter, it is just taking 21 minutes. Okay. So all these jobs will be recorded here under this backup jobs. Now we are performing restoration. If you go back to the home page, virtual machines, still your VM1 is not available here because we are trying to restore it using restore option. Still it is not able to visible here in this section where it is taking time. Let me refresh this page. You will find a restored. Did I start? Let me check here. Yeah, I think I have started already. Not the storage one. It will be displaying here in this section in the name of restored VM because I have given a restoration point of that restored virtual machine. Now, if you go to this uh, recovery services vault, backup items, virtual machine, and then this is the one, view details. So you have an option called file recovery. So now we are doing restoration of VM and we are done with it. We are trying to see that data here in this virtual machine one as restored option. Okay, so now I have a backup. Every time I don't want to restore full VM backup, సో అందులో నాకు ఓన్లీ 4 డిస్క్లు ఉన్నాయి. 4 డిస్కుల్లో ఏదో ఒక ఫోల్డర్లో ఒక ఫైల్ మాత్రమే కావాలి. దాని గురించి నేను మొత్తం VM రీస్టోర్ చేసి టైం వేస్ట్ చేయదలుచుకోలేదు. సో వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ ఇస్ I want to restore entire virtual machine, then I can go for this restore option. But if I want only some files, ఏదో ఒకటి రెండు ఫైల్స్ ఆ VM లో ఉన్నాయి, ఆ రెండు ఫైల్స్ మాత్రమే నాకు కావాలి అంటే then go for file recovery of your virtual machine or even your backup data. So now click on this file recovery and restoration point. There are multiple recovery points where you can use. So let me go with the latest one, which is 2nd of August, 11:38. A download a script to browse and recover files. అంటే ఏంటంటే this will be downloading a script which you can execute on your system and it will display a mount point. సో మనకు సిస్టంలో ఎట్లాగైతే సి డ్రైవ్ డి డ్రైవ్ కనిపిస్తాయో అట్లాగా మౌంట్ అవుతుంది అనమాట, ఇట్లా కనిపిస్తుంది అనమాట. సో ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు సీ దట్, you go for download executables. Click on this, a script will be generated, and let's see. Sorry, I'm speaking on mute. So any question, Raghavendra? Yeah. Okay, sorry, I was speaking on mute only for this, so last 30 seconds. So now there is a executable file which has been downloaded to this machine, which is a script to execute on your laptop. So ఆ script ని execute చేశారనుకోండి, this is a simple script if you can execute, and that drives will be mounted to your laptop. Okay, let me double click on this and see what we are going to get out of this. Run as administrator and then click on yes. So you need to enter the password also, and that password is there here at this section to execute that script. Okay, so legal notice is fine. Now it is directing to PowerShell. So after having that to PowerShell, you can see connection succeeded, and if you expand, okay, let me go with this one drive of this PC. ఇక్కడ మనకు ఇంకొక డ్రైవ్ ఉండాలన్నమాట, సి డ్రైవ్ కావచ్చు, ఏదైనా కావచ్చు, like CDD, depends on the drives that you are using. It is going to be visible on your system. Let it load. Looks like there is one additional drive has been enabled. So let me go with Windows D drive, and this is the system drive for our server in Azure. Okay, ఆ సర్వర్ ఉన్న డేటాను ఇక్కడ రికవర్ చేసామన్నమాట మన లోకల్ ల్యాప్టాప్ లో. సో లైక్ దిస్ యూ కెన్ హ్యావ్ multiple options where you can use this executable files onto your system and then copy the data that you are whatever you want, and then return the data to return the disk, or return that one to, sorry, what was that I was saying, one moment. You can unmount the disk. Okay, once you're done with the data copy, you can unmount the disk from this device. So there is an option to unmount as well. Let me show that one here. Click on this and backup items, virtual machine. Click on this, view details, and now where is that file recovery? So you have an option called unmount disks. So click on this unmount. Unmount will be done within few seconds or within minutes. So we'll see whether this D drive which is there on our system will be disconnected or not. Okay, it is showing that unmount successful. So we have to refresh this page. to see the exact data, and now this is not responding in this console. So which is fine, and this is how you're going to see the resolution of a data for full virtual machine, whether it is a full VM backup or a file recovery within that virtual machine. Okay, now let me go back to this one itself, view details, and you can see file recovery and restore VM options. Now I want to stop the backup. Click on this stop the backup, and do you want to retain the backup data before you stop the backup? No, I don't want to retain the data. I'll go for delete backup data. You have to give the backup item. I'll give just some random name. Oh no, it is, yeah, you have to give VM1, reason, let's say compliance issues, and then stop backup. So I'm stopping backup forcefully to see uh, whether it is going to have the single console or having multiple options to do the same settings. Any questions, Raghu?
No,
Right. So stopping backup and deleting the data for Azure VM1. So likewise, even if you stop the backup and if you wanted to delete this recovery services vault, it is not going to get deleted because you have got a retention policy at this store, sorry, at the storage account level as well, which is a default setting, which is a default security setting, I would say, to save your data for unexpected deletions which are happening at recovery services vault. Okay, now you go to backup, not this backup items. I'll show that again. Yeah, now you can see backup is disabled and it is showing warning symbol, and there is a red mark as well, which is a caution. If you scroll down or if you open the other window, you can see that backup disabled. Okay, you can click on this undelete, all of these options will be enabled, and where you can still use the existing data if you want to undelete that backup. Let's say you want to delete entire recovery service vault which you don't want. Now what you have to do is you have to come back, click on overview, delete this, and I wanted to show the error here. Delete manually. I confirm. Yes. See here, this is the error that I was expecting when you have security settings enabled. So this error is recovery services vault cannot be deleted as there are backup items still present in soft delete state. So soft delete state అంటే ఏంటంటే మన systems లో బ్యాకప్ ఏదైనా ఉంటది కదా, డేటా ఉండొచ్చు, ఏదైనా కావచ్చు. ఇఫ్ యూ డిలీట్ ఇట్, రీసైకిల్ బిన్ కి వెళ్తుంది కదా, until unless you delete by clicking on shift and delete, which is a permanent delete. అలా క్లిక్ చేయకుండా నార్మల్ గా డిలీట్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది, ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు బి సేవ్డ్ ఇన్ రీసైకిల్ బిన్. సేమ్ ఇక్కడ కూడా సాఫ్ట్ డిలీట్ అనే ఆప్షన్ ఎనేబుల్ చేశారనమాట. దానివల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, ఇందులో బ్యాకప్ ఐటమ్స్ లో మనకు 7 రికవరీ పాయింట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఆ 7 రికవరీ పాయింట్స్ కూడా కొద్ది రోజులు అలాగే ఉంటాయి అన్నమాట, డిలీట్ అయితే అవ్వవు. If you want to delete those kind of backup recovery points as well, then you have to modify security settings. So that you have to do it from where is that, getting started and then backup items. Now is the okay, I have to go to recovery services vault. This is the one. Backup, site recovery, and then backup items and backup infrastructure. Not this one as well. Alerts matrix, backup jobs. No. One second, I'm just checking that storage account type. Probably that option is not there, it seems now. I don't know why it is not coming up. Okay, here it is, properties. Sorry for that. So within the recovery service vault, you have an option called properties. From the properties, you have an option security. ఎందుకంటే మీరు బ్యాకప్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు విఎం కావచ్చు, డేటా కావచ్చు, డిలీట్ చేయలేరు అనమాట తర్వాత. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ సాఫ్ట్ డిలీట్ ఆప్షన్ ఎనేబుల్ ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు delete that soft delete backup, or you have to block, or you have to just uncheck that option before you go for next level of settings. So let's go with this security settings. Click on this update and see here soft delete is in enabled state. I'm going to disable it, and if you are running any type of hybrid backups to avoid accidental deletion, you can be enabling this option as well. But for now, I am disabling this feature as well. Okay, I repeat, you have to disable soft delete feature from this property section under recovery services vault. Otherwise, it's going to be painful where you can't delete on your subscription. Click on save. So once we have this data saved, close it, close it. Now let's try to delete this recovery services vault. Copy it, and then I confirm and click on yes. Let's see whether this time backup items still present in soft delete state. Okay, let me refresh this page. I don't know where exactly it is available. Properties, backup configuration, it is fine. Security, it is disabled. Multi-user authentication, there is nothing. So now let's try to delete where it has taken some time, it seems for me. Delete the recovery services vault and then click on this and yes. Okay, still it is showing as there are backup items. Okay, even though it is the options are changed, still we have some data there on that. Let's see, view details, and okay, have been deleted and retained in the soft delete state. They were deleted 5 minutes ago and will be available 13 more days to recover, after which they will be permanently deleted. Oh, okay. Even though it is deleted here on the vault, still it will be available for 13 more days to recover. So that's the reason we will not be able to delete this virtual machine recovery services vault for 31 days or 30 days. Okay. Let me try to click on this undelete. What is going to happen? Click on this undelete. So undeleting the restore points for virtual machine, and we will see what output that this option we get. So just a minute, let it load. undeleting. And meanwhile, if you come back to this, refresh this page, virtual machines, still it is not showing anything. Okay, so this is how we are going to delete the data. So once you delete the data, then only you will be able to delete the recovery services fault. సో ఈవెన్ అజూర్ బ్యాకప్ ఏజెంట్ రన్ అవుతున్నా కూడా నువ్వు ఆ రికవరీ సర్వీసెస్ వాల్ట్ ని డిసేబుల్ చేయడానికి లేకపోతే డిలీట్ చేయడానికి కుదరదు అనమాట. సో లెట్ మీ క్లిక్ ఆన్ దిస్, విల్ ట్రై టు డిసేబుల్ దిస్ ఫీచర్ అండ్ దిస్ వన్ delete, where is that server name, this is the laptop name that I am using for data backup, delete it. Okay, even dot also needed here. Region, it is not reliable, delete. So you have to delete all the backup agent softwares as well to make sure to delete recovery services vault. Okay, so let me come back here and refresh. See here, this backup agent is gone now, it is showing as 0. Okay, same option we should be checking for this VM1 as well. VM details, let me show here. Now you can see after undeletion I've got this delete backup data option, resume backup data option. So I can go for a fresh restoration, or you can go for delete backup data. Type the name of the backup item. So it is going to be VM1. VM1 region, you can put anything and delete. So after deleting this backup data, then you can go for a recovery services vault deletion. Otherwise, it is very difficult to delete a recovery services vault. So now this guy is deleted. I'm going with this recovery services vault, and let me try to delete this vault now, whether it is going to work or not. Delete. See here, you can choose the option called delete manually, or you can execute the script, whatever that you want. Okay, still it is showing something in the data. Will not be able to delete. I confirm, and then visit the following link. Okay, let's visit this link and see. No, I'll not be able to copy it. Let's try to resolve this before we close for the day. Backup items, still okay. Now it is gone. Virtual machine is gone. There are no agents. Now we should be in a position to delete this vault as well. I'm refreshing entire page. Okay, it is showing as 0. And let me check these settings once again. This properties, active backup configuration, which is fine. Encryption settings, which is fine. I'm just double checking these options. Security settings, disable. Okay, so security settings, sub delete, I think we have seen just now. Monitoring settings, and then recovery services. So everything is fine here. And let me try to delete now.
Hari, I think you have, I mean, like that, you did restore data to VM2, right?
VM2 రిస్టోర్ చేశాను దాని వలన No, అది
Uh, ఇక్కడ
అది
డేటా
నేను
మీకు వెళ్తా ఉంది కదా. సో
అర్థమైంది. అంటే అది అన్డిలీట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఆ రిజర్వేషన్ కూడా ఐ మీన్ మళ్ళీ బ్యాక్ అయిపోతుంది అనమాట. ఇప్పుడు డిలీట్ అయిపోయింది చూడండి. అంటే ఏంటంటే సాఫ్ట్ డిలీట్ సెట్టింగ్స్ డిసేబుల్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఇట్ హస్ టేకెన్ సమ్ టైమ్, లైక్ 2 to 3 minutes తీసుకొని ఇప్పుడు నేను రిఫ్రెష్ చేస్తే మల్టిపుల్ టైమ్స్ ఇక్కడ చూసారా, వితౌట్ ఎనీ ఎర్రర్ మై రికవరీ సర్వీసెస్ వాల్ట్ ఈజ్ సక్సెస్ఫుల్లీ డిలీటెడ్. ఓకే, సో given the conditions, you should be verifying security settings from recovery services vault properties, and you should be doing all the data deletions that has to happen from uh, the VM level backup using recovery services vault backup items, and then you can go for the deletion. So all this will be useful in enterprises, whether it is a VM level backup or files and folders or any other method that you have as part of the business needs. Okay, so I feel I'll pause here for a minute or two and we'll discuss about the questions.